I wanted to ask you another question. What are your biggest fears? And how do you know that you're afraid? For example, if you were to think over the next 12 months and consider all of the possibilities, all of the things that might go wrong, what would those be? And if you were to go out, say a decade from now, trusting that you're going to survive those situations, those hypothetical situations, and also not only will you survive, but you're going to develop the resources that will empower you to move through those challenges skillfully and gracefully. And this might be a little bit of a stretch for you, a challenge, but let's imagine that you were able to do that. And 10 years from now, you're able to look back at this last year and notice how you were able to overcome the challenges, to move beyond your fears and potential shortcomings, to move toward what it is that you want. What kind of person would you have to be? What resources do you need? What beliefs do you need? And I think that the belief question is probably the most important, because it's going to be your beliefs that begin to create an umbrella of the possibilities that exist for you. Once you've established what that umbrella of beliefs could be, then you're going to need to find the state, the emotional states, the emotions to power you towards your beliefs so that you can achieve those. And this is where I think most of us have a hard time. It's a challenge to think about, well, what are my limiting beliefs? What are my empowering beliefs? Then what resources do I have to create the emotions and the state that I need to have so that I can move towards what it is that I want? And I think that we go back to, short-term outcomes, which is going to be controlled by our emotions. So that might be, something for dating, something for business, something for our relationships. Those are all going to be dictated by the outcomes in those scenarios, will all be dictated by our emotions in that moment. But long term, what we're going to move towards is truly dictated by our beliefs. And so when you start to identify what your empowering beliefs are and what limiting beliefs might exist, so that you can change those limiting beliefs to open up your paradigm and to expand your horizons, then it also brings into account the question of what kind of emotional resources do you need? How can you feel empowered at the right time? How can you feel congruent? How can you feel confident? And so when you start to get into these things, you can notice how you might be able to begin to wrap emotional states around each other. You might go into a situation where you used to feel somewhat scared or anxious, but it's aligned with your beliefs. It's aligned with what you believe you deserve. And so you might begin to feel that anxiety, but then you can become curious about the anxiety. And that curiousness might begin to open up different possibilities for you. And that sense of having more possibilities could create a sense of confidence for you. And confidence could create excitement. So it's a great exercise to go through and identify maybe some of the limiting beliefs and the limiting emotions, and then begin to wrap empowering emotions around those. So you're creating meta states upon meta states. And so it's an interesting concept. Definitely play with it. And let me know what you find out. Life is beautiful.